The power of knowledge can weigh on the smartest characters. Imagine the burden of knowing what the future of your world might hold. It can ruin the confidence of a person who is not special. Lucky for them both, Thanos and Tony Stark are more than special. The two are connected by the knowledge they share. They see a vision of the future of their respective worlds. Stark is trying to save his planet from potential planet-destroying threats, while Thanos did his best to avoid the extinction of the Titans on his home planet. It's a connection of suffering through the knowledge they held and failed to convince others of in time. All of it, the knowledge, the connection, and the destined destruction, starts with a key cinematic moment. Everything begins with the Battle of New York in the Avengers. It is a third act that launched a plan 10 years in the making. Aliens, Norse gods, and magic staffs, oh my! At least that's probably how the Avengers felt when they were overwhelmed by an army of Chitauri infantry divisions. No one could have guessed that the Battle of New York would hold such incredible stakes, yet here we are still analyzing it today. Tony is presented in that film as a confident superhero who is used to the dogfight nature of his occupation. Everything changes afterwards. Consider this, Tony is the one helping make plans to stop the invasion. It takes the entire team to execute, but at the end of the day, Tony makes the call to sacrifice his life for humanity. He ends up being okay, but taking a nuclear warhead through a wormhole changes him. What's more, the Russo brothers revealed in an interview that Thanos knows it was Tony who defeated him. Let's stop and think about that. What are the odds a dude like Thanos holds a grudge? Right, it's extremely likely he holds animosity towards Stark. The Russo brothers are drawing a connection between the characters dating all the way back to that moment. On top of this, the brothers also brought up the ideal futurism running through both storylines. The two characters are heavily invested in outcomes. Their intelligence is geared toward preventing the worst possible scenarios for their people. Thanos wants to achieve his future. He makes the move first through the invasion of New York and is thwarted by Iron Man. The only reason this happens is because Tony has the same resolve to preserve his people that Thanos has. Keep in mind, every Avenger would sacrifice themselves for Earth, but Stark acts out and secures the safety for his own reasons. Iron Man is a futurist. Thanos is a futurist. The sacrifice in New York amplifies this and pulls that characteristic out of Tony in a new way. He sees how urgent the need for peace is in this time by witnessing the power Thanos wields. He just can't put a face to the terror. Which leads to the second Avengers film. Look, Age of Ultron isn't the most beloved MCU film, but that doesn't mean we can't find details that show how Thanos and Tony are connected. In fact, it all centers around Ultron. Ultron is created in response to Tony's vision from Scarlet Witch. The vision, the imagery, not the character, is a representation of Thanos and the Snap. The power affects him more than any other character. The moment bonds him even more closely with Thanos. Ultron is the result of fear. Iron Man fears the future and is desperate to change it. In this irrational moment, he creates a potential protector that goes awry. Even the mistaken Ultron pulls out something within Stark. The writers presented Ultron to us as more of a corrupted version of Stark. He is not a puppet, he certainly makes that clear. However, he is motivated by the idea of peace in our time. How does Ultron plan to achieve peace? Simple. Destroy all humans. Ultron see humans as the cause of destruction. As long as they exist, there cannot be peace on Earth. So that concept does not sound far off from another villain we know. Seriously, if Ultron was asked to solve the limited resource issue, his response would likely be similar to Thanos' response. So, if Ultron is the extreme of Stark, the Stark's ideals are near Thanos' ideals. It's a jump, but not a large one. Tony nearly wipes out all of Earth trying to bring peace and protect Earth. Thanos destroys half of every planet that he comes across to ensure survival. Both are destructive ends to a pure hope. Neither character seeks the worst outcome. They only want to ensure a more perfect future. Thanos knows Stark is capable of dramatic actions when attempting to defeat his enemy. He also knows Iron Man will not settle until he ensures the future of his people. The drive comes from the same philosophy, and Thanos is scared of that. Still not convinced the two characters are connected? Luckily, there is even more content to this theory, which again comes from the interview with the Russo brothers. Finding details in previous films helps offer explanations to how the two are connected. Consider how Scarlet Witch received her powers. The Mind Stone gave her the ability she now uses, and is why she is capable of destroying it. On top of that, Vision, the character, remarks that the stone is mysterious and has its own motives. Clearly, this Infinity Stone is capable of thought. Loki received the staff from Thanos as a tool to conquer Earth. Thanos already had the Mind Stone for a long time. It's not clear how long, but it might explain a lot. Maybe the gem is influencing Thanos the entire time. The Mad Titan may not have been mad the entire time. The stone may have made him mad. That is why when Tony is exposed to the Mind Stone, it influences his desire to create Ultron. Heck, even that angsty Pinocchio knew it was an Infinity Gem. It's certainly possible creating him with the power of the Mind Stone left Ultron vulnerable to its influence. The Mind Stone theory centers around the possibility that its agenda links both Tony and Thanos together. Thanos understands this, and it is why he says he respects Stark. The two are touched by the same motivating force, but Stark doesn't know it. Yet. Furthermore, more details hint to the possibility of Iron Man being the only threat to Thanos. A certain trend goes through the entire arc of Infinity War, and most people would not notice it. Thanos seems to work hard not to end any heroes except Stark. It feels strange how Hulk, Thor, the Guardians, and even Captain America all seem vulnerable to Thanos' strength. However, he doesn't finish them. There are many chances for superheroes to lose out, but they don't. Obviously, Thanos is not going to end them for plot reasons, but the point remains. The battle on Titan reflects an alternative. Thanos does dispose of all the other heroes without destroying them. He only seeks to keep them down. The same cannot be said for Stark. Thanos is determined to finish him and super close to doing it until the Time Stone is offered. Doctor Strange knows the endgame. Perhaps he saw the importance Tony had is the only positive outcome. He could not lose Stark, so he gave up the Time Stone. It all happens because Thanos fears Stark. Now, the debate comes in whether Iron Man is actually close to being knocked off. It's reasonable to argue he isn't close. It's also reasonable to argue that Thanos destroys Vision, but to be fair, he sort of needs to for the gem. Wait, pause. Notice which gem he saves for last. The Mind Stone is the last one he takes. The one he first holds, he saves for last. It is almost as if the stone is insured for him. The connection is there, and Tony is affected by it. Alright, back to the Stark isn't close to being finished argument. He is clearly still alive, but Thanos is incredibly close to ending him. He never gets that close to knocking off any other hero outside Gamora or Vision. Both the other deaths were required for a stone. Then again, nearly getting rid of Stark is the only way Thanos gets the Time Stone. Perhaps Thanos knows how important he is to it all too. Maybe Thanos understands their connection more than we think, and he knows Strange knows too. The trailer even hints at Iron Man's importance. Both he and Captain America are at the center of the promotional material to this point. Stark is clearly an important player in defeating Thanos. The question is, to what extent? He may not be the only Avengers Thanos fears, but he is the only one with solid evidence so far. This whole theory sparked from comments made by the Russo brothers. They noted that Thanos respects Tony because of his actions in New York. The tracks the two go down are running parallel. They've even said it when they noted the fact that both characters are smarter than everyone around them and deal with the repercussions of knowing the possible future. It makes sense that the two seem unable to avoid a clash at the end of this story. No other character is set up to approach Thanos with such emotional stakes. Characters and moments are built off emotional development. No other superhero can match the investment Tony has in defeating Thanos. Destiny is playing out, and these two kings among pawns are destined to match up. Even previous promotions show this. The Infinity War promotional material centered around Thanos. His voice guided us into the film, and the movie revolves around his quest. Stark says in the first Endgame trailer that all journeys end. Every film needs a protagonist, and every Avenger film to this point hinges on Stark's decisions, except Infinity War. Maybe it is time for a central character's journey to end. The person will most likely be the only one Thanos fears. It seems like it must be Tony. No other character incites fear in Thanos. It's true. If Iron Man is the character we are making him out to be, he is set to lose a lot. Thanos knows he ruined his plans. Tony knows Thanos is behind all of the torture he went through over the story. The connection needs to build to something. It might be detrimental to Stark's existence in a number of ways. Perhaps he gives up everything to stop Thanos. He might leave behind everyone to ensure the future he's envisioned. It is even possible he isn't alone and Captain America is in the same boat. It's hard to say. There is still so much more to be said, so let us know what you believe in the comments. Don't forget to keep up with all the new theories here at Behind the Screen. All you have to do is hit the link down below to be automatically subscribed.